Welcome to the Smart Life Club. I'm Vickie Helm, and this is the Coffee Break Show. Today is my favorite day of the week. It's Welcome Wednesday, and our guest today is going to rock your world. I'd like you to meet the amazing Timothy Craggette. But before we get into his amazingness, let me just ask you, if you're new here, do me a favor, put your name down below. Join us in the conversation. We want to meet you, know you, get to like you, and have great fun with you. If you're here afterwards and you're watching the replay, do me a favor, put hashtag replay down below, hashtag replay. And if you are on YouTube, welcome, YouTube Live. Do me a favor and click that like button, hit that subscribe button for the Wednesday guests. We have notifications for you today. Listen, the Smart Life Club, we go live Monday through Friday, all during the week, and we talk about motivation, inspiration. We talk about those things that raise productivity and thrivability and rising. We share tips and tricks, but on Wednesdays, we have Welcome Wednesdays guests. And I got to tell you, I think I've been friends with Timothy for almost a decade now. I mean, really, we have been spoken on stage, everything else. And he is the coolest dude. And I thought to myself, I thought to myself when I was here, I was like, what's the one word that I would use to describe Timothy? And, I couldn't think of one word. I was like, oh, it's this word. No, it's this word. It's this word. And suddenly it hit me. It hit me. And it was community. And what do I mean by that? This man serves all communities, not just every place that he puts his hat. He will serve his community locally. He will serve, that's right. He will serve his community locally. He will serve his online community. He has communities everywhere. This guy is a community master. And I want to let you know, I see you guys popping on. Do me a favor and say hello. I see you guys all running on right now. Good morning, Peter. Nice to meet you. Let's see. Good morning, Robin. Nice for you guys to be here. Woohoo. Timothy is in the house. Oh my God, you guys. This is amazing. Good morning from Barb Tomlin. Good morning, Timothy. Awesome day to rock your world with community. Yes, it is. Good morning, Donald. Good morning, everyone. Yes, the world is walking. Welcome. Now, fantastic. Now, I want to let you know something. I have a little secret. I've talked to him already, and I was like, look, you have so much you've done. I want to let you know this guy is a master. And I actually is the first person I actually had to write down because he's done so much good in the world. The guy's done so much good in the world. Timothy is a serial entrepreneur. He's also he's got 10 years in business. He helps all kinds of business educators as well. And he talks and coaches small business, and he has trained all kinds of budding entrepreneurs. But in the Washington area, he has the Swift Kick Show. It's his radio show, WERA 96.7 FM DC. It's the #1 online business radio show as of right now, the #1. Now, this is just some of the way he serves his community. I want to let you in on a secret. Can I tell him a few secrets about you? I'm going to tell him the money secrets about you. This guy has made $40,000 in 3 days. This is the guy to talk to about media. Today is a day that is going to rock your world. And I want to welcome you, Timothy, to the Smart Life Club. This is a coffee break show. Thank you for being here, my friend. I'm really excited to have you.
Oh, man, Vickie, it's been so long since we've seen each other.
Yeah.
This is so crazy. I wish I could say I was drinking coffee, but I had some chocolate milk earlier today, so that's my limit. But no, thank you for having me on. I can't wait to rock this out. This is going to be fun.
Thank you. I was thinking about, where I wanted to start today because the show has so many visitors on that specialize, and you have big specialty. Oh, I want to tell you, you just finished with the Impact Factor movie. Yes, you were part of it.
Yes, this past September, we wrapped. Now we're working on picture lock. So yeah, staying in Philly, the Philly area for nearly 2 months.
Wow.
That was crazy. And if I can say anything about Pennsylvania, is that coming from DC, it's like total culture shock, and I'm a city boy, so it's just it's weird to relocate and just be on set. But I have to say, it was one of the most amazing things I've ever done in this world of recording and media and such, because being in this world, you're already a storyteller, but
Yeah.
doing that side of storytelling, just there's nothing
Completely
like it.
different.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nothing like it.
Yeah, I think that is such an incredible thing to be able to say, yes, I've made a movie. It's like number one on radio, number one in business, number one in movie sounds, it's like your hat should say DC number one. But you know what I mean? And so what I want to talk about today is there's two things I want to know. First,
Yep.
I want to know, like, why did you become an entrepreneur? And then second, why media? Why and what is the state and condition of media today? Maybe three questions,
All
because
right.
that to me is so important.
Okay. So I will try to remember so I could tackle all of them. All right. So the first one is the entrepreneur question.
Yes.
So back in 2012, um, I was at the height of my government career, but not really the height, like the height of when I was about to break free. In 2006, I joined the federal government, and I was there doing IT, and it was like perfect because I'm a
Mhm.
trainer by nature, so combining computers and training, I was in heaven.
Mhm.
Then in 2008, so 2008, I lost that job. There was a lot of infighting, and I ended up losing that contract. But the government agency that I worked for at the time loved me so much that they brought me back. But they brought me
Nice.
back in admin,
Oh,
so that kind of sucked. But the promise was they were always going to get me back into IT. So I was like, all right, I'll do this admin stuff. I got to get home, but that's fine. I'll do that. So years go by. I keep asking, oh, what's my opportunity? And it never came. Another year go by. It never came. Another year go by. It didn't come. And then finally, the job was killing me.
wow.
Like I was literally and figuratively losing my mind. Like deep depression, anxiety disorder, PTSD, and bipolar 2.
Wow.
So in 2000 and late 2011, early 2012, I was like, I need to figure out how to get out of this because I got to survive, but I can't do this job anymore. So I learned about internet marketing. I went on to this place. Some of you might know it, Warrior Forum.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I just found the like $7 Warrior Forum product on making information products. And so it had this upsell that was like $500, and it was like mentorship for 8 weeks, the normal stuff that we sell. So I went on ahead and I took the plunge, and my mentor at the time, he saw what I was producing, and he was like, "Why are you not an internet marketer?" I was like, "I never knew this word existed." So uh, I just went on ahead and I released my first information product back in 2012. I made 40 grand in a weekend, and I was just $5,000 short of my yearly salary with the government.
Wow.
So yeah, that was what got me in. It was a matter of life and death, and that's not exaggerating.
Mhm.
It was if I stayed in my job,
Yeah.
I probably would be in a really bad mental state. So it was out of desperation and inspiration. So after that, um, that was pretty much it. That's how I kind of removed myself from being a federal employee, which everyone says is crazy that you never want to leave. But I say you leave if you have the right vehicle. So that's how I got out of
Yeah.
that. The second question was, help me out. I believe you asked me the second question was about
Yeah, I
media.
wanted, yeah, the media. Why media?
Okay.
Why did you choose media?
So in 2016, my life has just these crazy ups and downs. So in 2016, a story broke about a cop that was accused of harassing a person of Muslim faith. Um, and the story broke at like 3 o'clock a.m. I remember like it was yesterday. I was working with a client. that was based in England, so we have different time frame.
Yeah, yeah.
And I set up Google alerts for my name because you got to kind of pay attention to what's going on. And this Google alert came up on this blog post, this kind of short story about this cop, and I was like, holy expletive word. I can't believe this. What's going on? So I click on it, and it was this story about this officer that worked in a library, and this person of Muslim faith, he supposedly harassed. So I'm reading the story. I'm like, I can't believe this. And I'm there freaking out from 3 o'clock a.m. to 6 o'clock a.m. waiting for my father to get to work. So as soon as it hit 6:01, I called my dad and I was like, what's going on? And he says, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, the story, what happened at the library? And his response was, oh, you know about that? So that was
Wow.
the introduction to media. It totally reversed all the work that I did from 2012 to 2016. And I had to start over. So with that, with my dad and I sharing the same first name and last name, hence the reason I'm Timothy D. I had to reinvent myself, but not in a way where I took away from the work that I did. But my name, as far as the internet goes, was Mud, because it even got to the point where my wife and I were being threatened online because of
Wow.
all of the war on terror stories that were happening at the time. So that was my introduction into media. I said I need to understand how to undo what was done to me. And I know it wasn't any fault of my father or even the people that were reporting. It's just how the news cycle works. And so it just so happens I started a podcast in 2014, and a producer from a radio station heard the work and was like, I love what you guys are doing. Can you bring it to the station? And it didn't work out for that show, but we kept in contact. 2016 happened to me, and I was like, okay, I will do a show, but it has to be something that means something to me. Because when I got started in 2012, someone helped me. So it answered all of my questions as to how this entrepreneurship works. So I was like, I need to pay it forward. That's the only way that this could ever work for me. So 2016, I lost the Swick Kick show and I start learning about how media is from the inside. I'm even getting my master's in this. In 3 months, it'll be done. I'll have the master's for media. I mean,
Wow.
I'm so absorbed into how stories work. And so this is something that for everyone, I mean, everyone that's watching, you need to know, you need to know what's going on. So yeah, that's how the media side stuff worked. And I can't remember the third question.
That's okay. I want to go back. You've said so many important things right now. One of the interesting things that you just said that just made my hair stand up, and then I'm going to talk to everybody, the thing's going wild.
Sure.
But what's interesting about what you just said that I think just is so interesting. You had this job that made your life just almost like a living hell.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, you decided to make a change. You couldn't do this because it was killing you.
Yes.
But you just said something that really hit my heart. You said, I have to do something in the world that means something to me.
Yep.
And that's a bold move for everyone. It's like, that's really the intention and the risk, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you step out at the point and you're saying to everybody, I have to do something that means something to me. And in media, the conversation can happen. The way you start things can happen. And I just want to jump over here and say hello to everyone because I had to scroll back up because there's so many comments. I love Philly. It's my hometown from Robin. Timothy is a media master to the 1,000 mentors to many. Yes, he is. Like you guys, we're scratching the surface now. We haven't even begun. We're just getting the front story. This man's going to blow your mind too. I was like this. So PA rocks. We were happy to have you in PA. Yes, we were. Yeah. I love Philly too. Rich in history and amazing talent. Exactly. Dang, Timothy, that's a whole bushel of stuff. You're amazing to have climbed out of that. I'm like, yes, he's amazing to have climbed out of that. Peter says, lean, live, lead.
I agree with
Yes,
that.
lean, live, lead. That's so, zero to hero, hashtag zero to hero, somebody said. Necessity is the mother of invention.
It
Yes,
is.
it's also the mother of drive. I mean, when you have no other thing, it's like you do this, you get it right, you follow that. And that's the other thing. He followed his instincts on his way out. Either I had to learn this or die. I'm going to make it work or die. That's giving it all you got.
Yep.
Let's see. MJ. Hey, Marie Jo. Nice to see you on. Wow. Positive mindset is powerful. Yes, he does. He has that. Timothy rescued himself from a bad situation and transformed himself into a media
Karen
powerhouse.
is so cool.
She is. She's really awesome. Love the way you think, Timothy. Yes, I do. Oh my word, the power of intent into internet can take someone down if they have the same name as a person who allegedly did something nefarious.
Yep.
Timothy D Craig overcame that. Now that's the interesting thing.
Yep.
I think media is one of the most powerful tools because he who controls the conversation controls the masses.
Absolutely.
Storytelling is a skill set that somebody ethical or unethical can learn.
Yep.
It's really your intent about the media that you're using or doing or what's having. Hey, Ken MacArthur, gotta love me some Ken. Nice to see you. So anyway, Papa Bear, we were just talking about you.
Yep.
So anyway, I want to know, like, you have a master's coming up in media, and right now the state of media feels like, to me, as a consumer of content, it feels to me sometimes confusing. It feels to me like, where's the actual truth? How do you discern what actually is valid media and non-valid media? And can you give us some tips about, like, when we're running through stuff, fake news versus real news? How do you discern that?
I'm glad you used the term fake news because that's exactly where this whole leads up to. We're at this funny point in time, especially now. I mean, just think a few days ago, we weren't living how we're living today.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing of media as a whole changed in 2016, where the presidential election coined the term fake news.
Yeah.
That put everyone, including myself, in a very precarious spot because now anything that we say, anything that we do, anything that we report, anything that we do a story on, a feature, is now completely scrutinized. And the fact check machine, it is so furious. The whole thing of figuring out what's real and what's not, what do you listen to and what you don't, I hate to say it, is really it's personal, because we have way too much as far as content and deliverability. Like the channels that we have now, where we're talking about podcasting, YouTube, live streams, the traditional media, radio, television, entertainment media, movies, you name it. There's so much that we have. We're so inundated that you have to have a bit, and I hate to say it this way too, a little bit of common sense, because the job of the journalist, and even you, Vickie, you're a journalist and doing this really, really awesome show. The job of the journalist is to report, but the job of the consumer is to internalize and just and take it in and make sense of it. The best advice really any of us can give is to be your own fact check. Like, find your own sources. Even though we can supply sources to a story, even our sources can be questionable. Perfect example, because I just finished watching this, and this is the part of the media side of me, but also just the person who loves documentaries. If you haven't watched Macmillions, watch Macmillions. It's the perfect examination of how media can be manipulated for very deceitful practices. Uh, sometimes you just have to just listen to the story and get all sides. Like, one of the things that I love to tell people is watch Fox, watch CNN,
Yes.
and watch MSNBC, and then make your own decisions as to what the story really is. Because it's one thing on Fox to have a conservative point of view. It's one thing for CNN to have the middle, and it's one thing for MSN to have the liberal. The whole thing is they're all telling the story. They're
Yeah.
just giving you different points of view. So as a consumer, it's our job to take it all in and figure out what makes sense, not just to give a blanket, this is fake news, or whatever. There isn't any fake news. It's just what you accept to be true and what you can prove. So I would advise everyone to, just take in the stories, see what the information is, and find the truth. Don't just rely on just the broadcast. I mean, because even with my show, as much as I try to keep it as straight down the middle as I can, the guests that I have, they have their point of view and their bias, and I have my points of view and my bias.
Yeah.
But you, as the viewer, the consumer of the content, have to empower yourself to say, what will I accept? What really means something to me? And what do I do with this? What decisions do I make with the information that's presented? So the power is in your hands.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that, because I made a choice a long time ago. I mean, just decades ago, after the nausea of politics, that I would become an independent. I'm really a constitutionalist. And one of the things that is there for me is, if I'm independent, then it gives me the ability to listen to both narrations. And people right now in media, the narrative can point to your point of view. And the thing is, if you get caught up in a point of view, you'll miss the truth, because you're defending your point of view. Right. And I think it's very important what you said about putting it neutral. So when I look at the news, I go to BBC, Al Jazeera. I do all the I even have the Chinese channel. It's like the opinion of everything all together. Is it work? Yes. But this is why I chose Facebook Live as my platform. Because right now, there is no misconstruing your words. There's no editing anything in or out. Live, I said I was going to say TV, but live programs right in the moment are in the moment. And you can't hide your mistakes. You can't hide what you say. And when you're done with the broadcast, and we broadcast on like 5 platforms at once, it's the same story on 5 platforms. It's not different stories. It's that. Now I chose that because the actual statement, the actual truth, and the actual relevance of what you're saying has come up. Now I have a couple of questions. You guys, let me just catch up with them really quick. You guys, I want to say, let's see. Okay. Stephen, nice to see you. Thank you. So many points of value. I understand stepping away for a great paying job to do something that meant something to me. You are special and making a positive difference. I appreciate and love you. Thank you very much. I agree with that. Mr. Papa Bear, so glad to see you on. Ken MacArthur, gotta love Timothy and Vickie and the crew. That's right. We are an impact family, my friend. Great to see you, Ken. Karen says, Robin, Timothy Craggette is a role model in all that he has taken in his life. And yeah, that's really true about you, by the way.
Thank you.
And didn't just turn it around. He soared above all others. He is influencing so many. It's really true. You do that a lot. Thank you, Tim, for being you. Robin, always great to see you. Love you back, Ken. With all the fake news, Timothy D Craggette and all the other honest media mavens are under scrutiny, and that is a big deal. It used to be that your newscasters and things, you really valued them. They had done the research for you. I mean, all the way back, I can remember that Walter Cronkite
Yep.
and, Katie Couric. And I still think for me, Robin Roberts, she's just my favorite at that. I love her, the way she covers shows. And of course, everybody knows that whatever Oprah Winfrey says or Gail says, those are the women out there that are in power, that are really bringing the facts in there. They really do their fact checking. And I really like them as well. Great point, fact check source. Watch McMillions. Somebody put the HBO link right in there right now so you can watch that later. The truth lies where they intersect. Yes, that's it. The truth lies where everything intersects. And this is what is interesting about what Timothy shared with us today. It's the building of your discernment muscle.
Yep.
Because I feel like the world is trying to grab your attention and take away your ability to discern. It's up to you to protect that. And I think that's a very strong message from Timothy. It's like, you have to do this. Watch Fox and CNN and CNBC. They all tell a story. The truth is somewhere where they all intersect. Thank you for that. That was a good piece, including BBC Al Jazeera in the mix. And Barb says, you hit it on the button, Vickie. Live is where the power to impact prevails in this day and time. That's from Barb. Barb is like the live queen. She's really helped me become good at this. Cool. And I'm improving every day. But I have to ask you, now that you're here and it's now 2020 and we're in this new decade, let's say for right now that you had a room full of students and you were going to tell them how they should start their media empires. How do they start their media empires? What would you say to the newbie right now who's thinking of starting in the media industry right now?
So my major message has always been control your media, control your own media. And Vickie, you've been doing it for a couple years, so you totally understand exactly what I mean. I remember us being in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And I did my first talk after my grandmother passed. And
I was
remember
there.
That? Yeah.
I do. I was there.
Yeah. And that message kind of resonated with me after what happened in 2016, where it was like the best way to really cause transcendent impact is by controlling your own media. And what do I mean by that? So one is mass control, and that is having your own platform. So Vickie, you have the Smart Life Club where you're doing your broadcast. With me, I'm doing the Swick Kick Show. I'm my own outlet. I'm my own publishing. I'm my own platform. Same for you. I encourage everyone. The internet has not made it this easy in a really long time for us to just speak our minds and get our points out and bring people along and build up communities. So that's the first thing. And then the second part of it is mass communication. That's working with traditional media, not necessarily new media. Like, I love my podcasters. I love my YouTubers. I love my content creators. All of us are very unique animals.
Yeah.
But I have this strong love for traditional media, for the news guy, the one that's out there still writing on the paper, the person who's still doing the local news, the person on AM and FM. Because the way I look at it is, when the internet went down, if you didn't have a radio, you didn't know what was going on. When Facebook crashed recently last year, the way I knew about it, outside of me not being able to use Facebook, was I went to my radio station. I went to my local station, WTOP, and they reported on it. And it boggles the mind that people forget traditional media has been here forever. It's not going anywhere, and it will never change. No matter what algorithm comes up, no matter what new social media network pops up, no matter who's Snapchatting, no matter who's OVOing, any of that, traditional media still exists. And then the last
Yeah.
thing is mass collaboration. That's doing joint ventures, because that's a
Oh,
great way
that's
to
the best.
expand. It's a great way to expand the message. And the simple fact that you can leverage someone else's platform to spread your own message, your products and
Yeah,
services, that is
that's
so
gold.
tremendous, especially nowadays, because realistically speaking, a lot of people are working from home. So they're starting to wonder about people like us that are internet bound, and being able to leverage someone else's platform is tremendous. So mass control, mass communication, and mass collaboration. I suggest, if I were to pick one out of those three, and I hate to sound biased, but it's going to be media. It's going to be like getting in contact with journalists, with reporters, with people on radio and television, because
Do you hear
yeah,
that, Scott?
what you got to look at is the reach is already in place,
Yeah,
and we're in a world where we need to sell clicks, unfortunately.
yeah.
So that means we need to keep on bringing in stories. We got to keep on bringing in content, and even if it's a small byline, that could be the difference between having a little bit of traffic to your products and services or a major blast. And I've seen everything in between. So, uh, traditional media is your best. And if I were to pick one of them out of any, actually it will be two, because that's just what it is. It's television and radio, by far. Because like if you think about television on a local level, you're definitely going to get featured. If you think
Mm-hmm.
about radio on a local level, you're
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed reach. And most of the time, if you're on the right station, there's an embedded audience already there. Um, Please do not disregard AM. People think AM is just for
It's not
conservative
dead.
radio. It is the people who still listen to AM radio are dedicated,
Yeah,
dedicated people.
totally.
And they're forgotten.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, you see a lot of the advertising is super cheap. But you got to ask yourself, well, why is that? So traditional media, look at radio and look at TV.
I'm so happy you're saying this. You have no idea how happy I am that you're saying this. I have one of my partners, one of my business partners is Scott Stevens, and he has like 20 years he was on NBC, ABC, and CBS.
Mm,
He's a meteorologist, newscaster. He's a really incredible journalist. And I mean, the guy's research is why I'm ahead of the game. And
mm,
I really, and I want to shout out to him because we have been working on behind the scenes building this studio
nice.
inside of and we're just getting the finishing touches. And I've been very quiet. I haven't told anybody. So I still want to use live TV because then that's controlling the narratives of the two. But when we look at YouTube Live,
Yep.
and we look at Facebook Live, and we look at the ability right now for these apps to come on and help you to be multi-channel. The reason I took that is because that's like being on ABC, NBC, CBS, and
Hmm.
all of them all at once, all the major news channels. So when he said, hi, hey, dude, nice to see you on. Listen, this guy right here, Timothy, he's your soulmate. I'm telling you, he's like traditional media. And, he had we had a conversation beginning of the year, you making plans and goals for your team. We need to go traditional media. We need to go with traditional broadcasting. We need to talk about the narrative we want to be in. We need to be ahead of the game.
Yep.
Brilliant research journalist. I couldn't be luckier in my life to have such a great person on my team. But that traditional media piece, I agree with that. And he loves AM radio. I know right now he's thinking, Vickie, could you get off there and let me talk with him for a while? But you know what I mean? So it's like that AM radio. One of the things that you said that is so interesting, it's a good demographic of people. They're wealthy people, dedicated people. They love talk show radio. They love
Yep.
What is it? Coast to coast and things like that on the AM channels.
Yep.
I love that. I'm also kind of a geek. I love amateur radio too. I love ham radio. I love
Yes.
all radio, like insanely. Like if you look over there, my ham radio's over there. I'll show you after the show. But I really am a geek about radio. I think it is the most important form of communications. It goes around the world. You
Yep.
can hear all of the world. If everything went down, radio is the things you go over a beer first. He said, I need to go over here and talk. These people are absolutely talking. You know, we're over. Is it okay if we just continue? Because they're
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, let's go. All right. Thank you. Okay. So you guys, I'm going to go as fast as I can. He said, I've learned not to trust any of them, Scott. He doesn't trust. He does his own researches and he does it with a fine tooth comb. The guy's amazing with it. It's like he's OCD about it. I love it. I totally agree. Love the venues. Wow. I love the phrase discernment muscle. Thank you. Timothy Craggette, insights to new people into media industry. Control your own media. Such an important thing going into this decade.
Yes.
People are looking for answers, and I believe they do not trust what's happening right now. I think there is a lot of reporting, like we just saw in China, the CCP cut off every citizen journalist in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then they propagandized their media so that we got the thing they wanted to see. We didn't actually get the truth. We got what they wanted us to see as the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So it helped us to have Twitter, didn't it? Because Twitter was the way they got through the message, the way they got the message through. The radio shows, the ability, I mean, I think podcasting is the best thing since ice cream because that's the conversations are happening. You have to know where they are and you have to listen to both sides of the story, not just hang on to your side, both sides. Being in neutral is intelligence. Being on either side is being defensive. Barb said, bam, two mass communications, local TV and radio is still alive. When digital goes down, traditional media keeps going. And the thought of having our own studio is just, oh my God, I'm so glad you said that. Do not overlook AM radio. He said, you guys don't give up on AM radio. And let me tell you something. If it's been a long time because you're like, oh, here's my XM radio, I don't even, just shut it off for a second. Go back to AM and listen. There's football, there's all kinds of intelligent talking going on there. And I know you're like, but Rush Limbaugh's there and this is there and there's so many shows.
Yes.
Just get in there and listen. They're so fun. And Scott Stevens really wants to say hi. I think you two should meet. It's really great. Hook up on Facebook and say hi to him, Scott. Scott Stevens is an extraordinary business partner. Yes, Karen is actually one of my business partners as well. I love you, man. Over a beer first, he said. So yes, an interview with Scott Stevens and Timothy Craggette, that would be fun. Yeah, that would be powerful. It would. Sounds like a plan. Every narrative has an agenda attached to it, said Scott. You're right. Every narrative has an agenda attached to it. So I want to go back over here because I like to know one of the things. Okay, hang on. AM radio is such an incredible geographic reach, and that might be really important in the weeks and months ahead. And I agree with that.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that, Scott.
I think what's there is the question I have. I mean, this is like the question I have about a book I write, about everything I do. But in media, it's so important. So do you have boundaries around the type of messages that you will broadcast. I mean, the type of, like, I am uber particular about who comes on the show, who comes on this show to spread love and light and intelligence and things like that. Is the message of who you are the thing that you start with when you're creating your media?
Ooh.
Or kind of like, is the message about what you're about? What are you about? Because to me, it's like that solidly. I want to live a smart life. Tell everybody, live a smart life. And what does that mean? For me, it means creating thrivability around the world. I don't let anything that doesn't create thrivability on the show. So I'll never have the negative nanny on there. And I'm thinking, well, that's not also maybe not having the, right there. But what would you say is the king of starting your show or thinking about creating your message? And how do you get it so it's not talking about one topic so that you can talk about anything you want?
I love the question. That's the first thing I had to say. I love the question. So my thought on that is you start with yourself always, because your message, your core values is the basis of everything. It's like you have to be able to fall on your own sword. I think that's how the phrase is. You
Love
fall on your
that.
own sword. But the beauty part of that is you have to have such conviction in it that you are willing to defend it, even if you're
Yes.
100% wrong. The whole thing of having a point of view that's that strong and you believe in it that much means that you can have people bring in different points of view that are contrarian to yours,
Yeah.
and you have magic when the mics are on, because you're going to hear a different side, and that side is going to expand your mind as far as what is the possibility of this thing that we're talking about. For instance, I love listening to a few podcasts where the hosts are so passionate about what they believe to be true that they'll get to the point of even discontinuing a conversation. The reason why I love
Yeah.
that passion so much is because then you're going to get to a third or a fourth or even a fifth level deep conversation. You're going to get to a point where you're hearing things that are definitely not talked about, or there isn't enough conversation about it. So I say starting there with having such a strong conviction that you're willing to fight for it. Um, the second part of that, though, is to have a safe space for there to be discourse,
Yes.
because there's so much one-sided storytelling that happens
Yes.
that you
Yes.
don't get to the meat and potatoes, the heart of the conversation. You don't get to where there's conflict, where there's animosity, where there's misinformation, where there's misguidance. You don't get to that point if everyone is saying yes, nodding your head, and you're all in agreement.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to the news with this. I love watching MSNBC and Fox to see where they
Yeah.
have that
That's
one
just what
person.
I thought.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
that one person who's supposed to be against the
Yes,
conversation, but
that's
really
right.
they're for it. But they're supposed to have a different point of view. Like if you're on the lib side and you have a Republican,
Yeah.
but they're there giving you the Republican perspective, or if you're on Fox and they have a Democrat and they have the Democratic perspective, but they're still kind of in agreement to the outlet, that's not going deep enough. That's like giving you surface level stuff. I like listening to where there's one person that is so passionate about what they believe, and the
Yeah.
other person is so passionate about what they believe that they're willing to butt heads, and at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, still shake hands, because
Yes.
we get to the information that is probably not surface level, but definitely more valuable to the listener. So that would be where I kind of see it. I see it as starting off with having conviction in your belief system, conviction in your voice, and having an outlet where your voice can be challenged. And at the end of the day, you can still be friends. You can still walk away from the table. You can still, share. And in Scott's case, you can share a beer. So, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta know. I gotta know. I am sitting here while you're talking, and I realize I could have you on for 3 hours, and I'm getting to the top of the hour, and I'm like, before you get off this show, I've got to know 3 starter tips.
Sure.
3 starter tips. Somebody who's starting a show, what would you guide them to do to take advantage of media today?
So 3 tips. The first one is know your message. Because anytime that mic is turned on, it's best to always come from a place of integrity, but also a place from intelligence, knowing what you're going to talk about. The second thing is find outlets that amplify. So for most entrepreneurs, the dream place to be is Forbes and Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
If that is where you can amplify what you're saying and doing, go for it. If it's local, go for it. If it's national, international, whatever, find where your message fits. And then the third thing is treat people like humans. Every time that I talk about media and working with journalists, the very first thing I say is treat them like a human being. Treat them like they work hard, like they're challenged and they're underpaid. Because the reality is they work hard and they're underpaid, but they do something that's extremely valuable. And if your message resonates and they cover it, don't be afraid to look them up, research them, find where there's commonality between what they've reported and what your message is, and treat them like you would want to be treated. Because at the end of the day, we all have something to say, but we know we can't do it by ourselves. We have to have others help us amplify, our message, and we can impact transcendently. So those would be my 3 tips. Know your message, come from a place that's good, and find people that can amplify it, that you can treat, well, and serve them as they're serving you. Yeah, I'm off my soapbox now. So there you go.
That's so that I'm my heart was touched by that, actually. When you were speaking, I felt myself be melted. I'm like, media is an integrous form of communicating with people. That goes to the sign of you. Now listen to me, you guys. This is the man. If you guys don't friend him on Facebook right now, you're crazy. Go do it. This is the man that can help show you how to get your message out. But what I'm thinking right now, if they want to be involved with you, how can they do that? What do you got going on right now?
So we actually are about to push out our open for Upliftpreneur come April. It actually might open this go round in May because of what's going on around here. But everything starts with our group. So swigkickshow.com/group. And not only are you going to get all the shows that we've done, we do a couple extra things in there to kind of like keep the conversations going. And when we do open up Upliftpreneur, it happens there. So swigkickshow.com/group. Totally free, of course. And that's our way of saying thank you for wanting to learn about all this cool stuff. And it's just a great way to engage. Like we're at a really pivotal time right now where everyone needs to get their messages out. So my mission is, don't end up like me where you have to do it. Be proactive and start to impact people on a much higher level. So swigkickshow.com/group.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
We are almost at the top of the hour. And I feel I can't tell you, I feel so enlightened. I feel so good. But I want to say, my friend, I am so excited that you were here. It was so fun to catch up with you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for everyone reaching out. Robin, Karen,
everybody,
everyone. Just thank you for the opportunity. This is fun. I love doing this stuff.
And Ken says, great soapbox, Timothy Craggette. And like, there's a few other comments, and At the end of the day, they still shake hands. So few people do that and do that well. That's right, Barb. So few people that do that. Karen says, amplify your message by treating your guests like they are human beings. Yes, the guy's giving you such great tips. And finally, I'm going to end the show with this because I think it's the most important one I'm going to share with you. I want you to listen. The newsman said, great show, guys. All right. Thank you guys for being here. Mwah! Peace out. I love you all. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Take care.